Hello everyone, I'm Jordana Van of Ravenlight Holistic Healing, and welcome to part 2 of 3 of How Do I Connect with My Animal Totems and Spirit Guides. And if you haven't watched part 1, you're going to want to go back and do so, because otherwise you'll probably be really confused. In part 1, I talked a little bit about the way in which I personally connect with my animal totems and spirit guides to help you guys see how easy the experience can be, and also to address one of the ways that we most often stand in our own way, which is that we think that the experience has to happen in some particular fashion. We think it has to be this, big mind-blowing experience or whatever. So in this video, we're going to talk about the other ways in which we often stand in our own way. And the next of these would be that oftentimes we are trying too hard. And so it's a really annoying fact of most intuitive work that the more you try, the more you often fail. True intuitive guidance really appears most often when we just let go, open up, and trust. And the reason for this is that when you are actively trying too hard, there's a lot of fear involved. And there's some sort of reason you're trying this hard, something you need, and there's a perceived emotional letdown looming if you don't receive it. And this kind of fear really tends to get in the way of your higher self, as it's going to keep you from calming down and relaxing enough to just allow and trust what comes. So you may have a whole host of critters chattering at you, but you're so worked up about not receiving their wisdom, which means that the internal dialogue here is not, okay, I am listening, I am listening, I'm listening. It's, oh my God, what am I going to do if no one answers me? And so when you're doing that, you really can't hear what's going on. If you think about it, we've got a limited amount of conscious space here. And if you're filling it up with, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, where do your animals have room to answer you? So if you notice that you're feeling some kind of emotional investment, meaning that you need this to happen for a particular reason, or you're afraid that you're going to feel bad if you don't, or if it doesn't, then this is a really good time to just stop for the day and try again when you're feeling calmer. And if you just can't calm down, then it's a good time to just go, okay, universe, you know what, I'm going to throw in the towel for now and send me my guidance through other means, because apparently I just can't get with the animals right now. And when you do that, that's really when all your animals are going to start showing up. So when I first started doing this, guys, I really was concerned that maybe I was crazy. And I started really demanding all the time, animals, 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 help me, help me, help me. And I was so freaked out, I couldn't hear anything. And that really made me doubt my previous experiences. I kept thinking, maybe I had imagined them or they've been wrong or whatever. And so when I finally just went, okay, universe, you know what? You send me the guidance I need in the way that's best for me. And I'm just going to table this whole animal thing for now. That's when all the animals started coming back. So sometimes you just have to take a little break and just kind of release your investment for the time being. So one of the reasons that we often try so hard is because we have a lot of fear that it has been invested. And the reason there is fear is because we have over-identified with one totem or another. And so this is the third reason we get in our own way. What happens here is that our ego gets involved. And when I talk about ego, I'm not talking about the Freudian ego. I'm not talking about the, oh, I'm an egotistical person. What I'm talking about is that thing inside us that thinks that the best way to protect us is to keep us in fear all the time. So that's the ego. The ego thinks that the best possible thing for us is that we stay in our little shells and never try anything new and never try anything that could possibly backfire, which is everything. So our ego gets involved here. We want assurance that a certain animal is our totem, or we already know that it is and we only want to receive information from that totem because we really like being that kind of animal person. And the reason for this is that we think this somehow makes us special or more powerful, or it gives us a license to behave in a way that other people might find objectionable. And so how we feel about ourselves really gets wrapped up in our identity as this particular kind of animal person. And so we don't want something that maybe we perceive as weaker to show up if we're invested in being seen as powerful. Or we don't want something that might be perceived as silly to arrive to guide us when we want to be perceived as serious. So the problem here becomes, can I loosen up enough to receive guidance from animals that might represent aspects of my personality that I wasn't quite sure I was ready to embrace. You know, can we go, okay, universe, surprise me? Because we all have several totems, guys, and sometimes certain other aspects conflict. So you can have one totem that is really funny and silly, and another that is really serious. And this is because, again, our totems help develop aspects of ourselves, not the whole self, aspects of ourselves. They work together to do this. And so when we are completely being us, we have the freedom to be very spontaneous in our reactions, to respond moment to moment as we choose to do, and not according to a set of scripted responses and behaviors. So, for example, I can be the most serious person in the world, very, very no nonsense, and very, very, I just want the logical answer right now, very organized. Which is because I have Snake as one of my totems. Snake loves to be organized and Snake loves to be serious. But, 5 seconds later I can be a total goofball, which is what comes from having Raven as a totem. So these things work for me. I am me, moment to moment, all of me, not the me that maybe was stuffed into a box by trying to live up to just this particular set of characteristics. So what you guys can do for yourselves is try to get your ego out of this and stop asking for a particular totem. And you'll know that you've been doing this because you'll have been saying something like, Wolf, I need you to answer me and you only. Or, universe, don't send me Snake because I don't want to be a snake person. That scares me. When you do this, you're so focused on what you're wanting or not wanting that you're not seeing Bear over here waving his arms and going, oh my gosh, how are you not seeing the bazillion bears I'm sending to you? So instead of saying, universe or Wolf, please, please, I just want you to talk to me, or don't send me Snake, what tends to work best is we say to the universe, send me whatever will be of greatest benefit to this time, at this time, and help me know that this is to my benefit, and help me be brave. And because you're now open, suddenly all these other totems and spirit guides that have been trying to talk to you will get through. And you'll have a sense of clarity. Now, sometimes we can't do this immediately because we are so fixated on having this one totem. And if that's the case, the best thing you can do for yourself is really ask yourself, why do I need to be this particular kind of person that I associate with wolf or with bear or with coyote or jaguar or gorilla or elephant or whatever? What is it about those qualities that makes me feel safe or makes me feel strong? And how is it that I don't feel that I am strong enough if I'm doing something different, if I'm being some other part of myself? When we explore those things, guys, we really open up to so much growth and so much possibility. And this is when magic really comes into our lives. So this is very much about facing your fears. If you are scared to let go and open up to another totem's wisdom, ask yourself why. Amazing things will come out of it if you're brave enough. So, all right. The next thing that blocks us is that we think that only certain creatures can be totems and spirit guides. So, sure, we think it's significant when we finally start to see the billion bears because we are familiar with bear as a spirit. That just makes sense. It's a bear, it's big, if you live in the United States, we have the Native American pantheon most of us are familiar with the bear spirit. So bear, it's all good. Thank you, bear. But when we see mice running all over our house, even if they really are everywhere and every house we go to seems to have mice, we think it's an infestation and we just go, that's no big deal. But rodent and insect infestations are actually extremely significant. So are things like insect bites. When you get bitten by a mosquito, once, no big deal. If you are endlessly getting bitten by mosquitoes, that says something. I used to get bitten by mosquitoes all the time. And then when I finally realized what that meant, it stopped. And I didn't change my diet. I didn't put any special stuff on. Bites are significant. So any creature can be a totem. Any creature can be a spirit guide, no matter how humble or how majestic. And so when you start noticing it everywhere, and most especially if it is everywhere, ask yourself what that means. We had a wasp infestation a few years ago before I really started to understand this work. that turned out to be extremely significant. And once I understood the wisdom that WASP was attempting to communicate, oh my gosh, big changes, guys. And the wasps went away, which was definitely a benefit. So the last way that we tend to block ourselves is we doubt ourselves, or we think that what we're seeing is only our imagination. And guys, this is one of those areas there isn't a whole lot that I can do to help you, except encourage you to just take a gamble and trust yourself. If you want to be truly intuitive, at a certain point, you just have to surrender and take the risk, and maybe just begin to believe that it's possible that the stuff you're seeing in your mind's eye might be significant and not just a figment of your imagination, or that an image you're seeing everywhere might be relevant. And really, you know, the worst thing that can happen is you look up the significance of what you're seeing and go, oh, this doesn't relate to me at this time. Oh well. But chances are, even if you're sure you're imagining it, those experiences will relate to you, and you're going to be surprised, because the more you start to explore them and trust them, the more they're going to happen. And the more that happens, the more you're going to begin living in the kind of way where you just know the universe is going to tell you whatever you need to know. This is pretty much how I live on a day-to-day. I really don't make plans. I don't have any specific way I do anything. I just know that whatever I need is going to come. This can be terrifying. I'm not going to lie to you guys. Sometimes I really just want a plan. I want somebody to tell me what to do. But when I used to live like that, stuff didn't work. So the more I trust myself, the more I trust the guidance from the universe, the more my business grows, my life opens up, everything improves. So you can start with your animal totems and spirit guides and just watch your life begin to change. Now I'm going to stop part 2 here, and you can go on to part 3. Please remember, I don't provide free commentary on people's spiritual situations, even though you might have noticed me mention that in previous videos. I'm just so busy with my practice and writing my books and everything these days that I don't have time for that. So if you're interested in receiving my perspective on your animal totem or spirit guide experiences or whatever else, please book a session. I would be delighted to work with you, and I work with people all over the world. So you can visit my website, which is www.ravenlightholistichealing.com. And if you are interested in just kind of my day-to-day offerings on all things metaphysical and some things that aren't, then you can go to my Facebook page, which is Raven Light Holistic Healing LLC. Don't visit my personal page because I just tend to ignore everything that goes there. So definitely go to the business page if you want to actually have access to everything that I post. And I will see you guys in part 3.